YouTube. If you seeing this, you already know what it is. We are back with another episode of From the Booth to the Court. It's your boy Roy. You know the grind don't stop. Now, if you see this backdrop behind me and it looks like a freaking basketball arena, then you already know where we headed. You know where we going. So in this video, I'm actually going to be talking about two awards that are actually usually given out towards the end of the season. I'm actually going to be talking about the Coach of the Year as well as the Rookie of the Year. Now, I'm also going to make a follow-up video to this talking about the MVP award, the Defensive Player of the Year award, and also the Most Improved Player. But in this video, I'm going to discuss some of the actual players, teams, and coaches I think that's going to be nominated for this award, as well as who I think is going to win. So to start this off, I'm actually going to talk about the Coach of the Year category. So I'm actually going to talk about four coaches of four teams that I think that's going to be nominated and give my opinion who I think is going to win. So as far as the actual nominees in this category, for the first nominee, I got Nick Nurse, the head coach of the Toronto Raptors. Now, the Toronto Raptors, they did good last season, and, with the trade of them getting Kawhi and, picking up Marc Gasol before the trade deadline, everybody knew that this team was really going to be a lot better than last year, even though they didn't really do bad last year. So it's crazy to think that they had a little bit of improvement. But, Nick Nurse, he actually is doing his first year coaching that team. And, with all the success that they have, and I actually got the Toronto Raptors coach, Nick Nurse, as one of the Coach of the Year nominees. Second, I got the Milwaukee Bucks with Mike Budenholzer. The Bucks, they actually lead in the East right now. That's Mike. I think it's Mike's first full season being a coach of the actual Milwaukee Bucks. So, they are killing the game. And I had to put them at a nominee. And then another surprise, I got Mike Malone for the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets, man, they have an extraordinary season. They number 2 out west, actually jockeying back and forth with the Warriors for the number 1 and number 2 spot. And I just think they're doing a fabulous job out in Denver. And for my number 4 nominee, I actually got Billy Donovan of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, the Thunder, they actually, came back from, what people would call a down year with them having Melo and Paul George. People expected them to go a lot further than being bounced out in that first round. But, I think that this team that they have this year is something that's going to be a force to be reckoned with. You got Paul George, who basically playing MVP-like, Defensive Player of the Year-like, as well as Russell Westbrook playing an MVP-type year. So those are the 4 choices that I have for the Coach of the Year. Now, for my actual choice of who I think is going to be able to win this award, I actually had to go with Milwaukee Bucks coach Mike Budenholzer. He got Giannis and that team playing great basketball. It's like everybody knows they roll. They got, people who are committed for the long haul. Giannis talking about he wants to play his whole career in Milwaukee. They just extended Eric Bledsoe's contract. And I just think this team is going to be a force to be reckoned with. Like, everybody knows they roll. They know what they're doing. They defend. They play good offensively. So I actually want to give him the actual award for Coach of the Year, because he actually just got to that team. And, even with them losing Jason Kidd, they was doing good with Jason Kidd at the coach. I just think, the slight tweaks that Mike Budenholzer did for that team has them playing exceptionally well. Definitely think they're going to be a force to working with in the playoffs and possibly may even get to the finals, because, before the season actually started, I had the Celtics being the team that was going to come out the East. But, with the struggles that they have going, I really don't know if that's going to be possible. Toronto looks like they could be basically a formidable opponent, but you can't count the 76ers. The moves that they made, getting Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris, they are setting up to win, and they want to win now. So, it's really tight with those 4 teams, but I think Milwaukee has a great chance to be able to actually come out of the East and be able to make it to the finals. And I just like what Mike Budenholzer is doing with that team. So I actually put them as my nominee for Coach of the Year with the Milwaukee Bucks and Mike Budenholzer. So moving on to the last category I'm going to talk about in this video, I'm going to talk about Rookie of the Year. So as far as 4 players who I think that are actually killing it as rookies in their first year, you got Luka Doncic from the Dallas Mavericks. Everybody know the type of stats and the type of stuff, the games that this man is pulling out of. And, all of the Dallas Mavericks are not a winning team right now. That doesn't say anything about how his performance is. He's playing great basketball. The the man is very skillful, man, and I think he's gonna be a force to be reckoned with, for most of his career, pretty much. And then I got Trey Young for the Atlanta Hawks. Now this man is like a young Steph Curry. Like this man shooting lights out. You can't give him no space around the arc. The Atlanta Hawks, they kind of the same scenario as Dallas. Like their team isn't actually, winning as far as going to the playoffs, but that doesn't mean anything about Trey Young's performance with Atlanta as well as Luka Doncic's performance with the Dallas Mavericks. Like they both are killing it. They both doing their thing. And then for the number 3 nominated player I have for Rookie of the Year, I got Colin Sexton from the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, Cleveland, they took a big loss losing LeBron. I mean, anytime you lose a top 2, top 3 player in the league, your team is not going to perform as well that next season. And they had a lot of rough patches, with injuries to Kevin Love. But, I mean, Colin Sexton, this man is coming along. He's playing great. And I think that, the more that he develops, he's going to be one of the top tier guards in this league. And then last rounding in office, I got DeAndre Ayton from the Phoenix Suns. Now, Phoenix, I mean, they got 2 good players in Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton. I don't know what's going on with ownership and management and everything like that. It just seems like they really not really trying to make any real moves in my eyes to try to win. But I mean, you got 2 core, young pieces. Those guys are like 22 and younger. Like they real young pieces. And I think that, DeAndre Ayton is a good big man in the paint right now. I mean, he's developing. And I think he's going to be someone who's going to do great. Now, for my actual choice of who I think is going to win Rookie of the Year, I think it's going to be one of those rare occasions where they actually have to give it to 2 players. I couldn't really pick between Luka Doncic and Trey Young. Both of them are actually balling out of control. Both of them have phenomenal rookie seasons and, basically just kind of standout players as far as in the Rookie of the Year debate. So I think they actually may have a co-Rookie of the Year where they may have 2 players win this year. I know it doesn't happen often, but, I mean, I really don't know who to choose. I mean, Luka is kind of making a lot more leeway just because he's being talked about a little bit more in the mainstream. But, I mean, Trey Young, this man is really balling out of control, like just dropping ridiculous numbers. So I think that's going to be one of the few occasions where we have 2 Rookie of the Year people actually win the award. So those are my choices for the actual Coach of the Year as well as Rookie of the Year. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, I'm actually going to drop another video talking about my MVP candidates, who I think is going to win. I'm also going to do a Defensive Player of the Year aspect in that video, and also the most improved. So be on the lookout for that. That's actually going to come up on the channel. I'll probably drop that in a day or so. And I appreciate you guys for tuning into the video. If you guys think there's other players or other coaches that you think should be nominated in those categories, let me know in the comment section below, or let me know who you think is going to win and what your list would be. Again, if you like the video, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit that notification bell so every time we come through with some flame, fire, fuego, you can get that notification. Click on the video and actually watch what we discussing on the channel. And appreciate you tuning in. We out.